Hey guys, we all here? Can you hear me or no?
I can hear you.
Thanks, Mike. And Mike. Mike, long time no see. Kurt, long time no see.
Great seeing you, Tim, for the first time today.
Yeah, right. We were just on the line of scrimmage meeting. Give it a few more, just a few more quick seconds here to make sure everyone's coming. Newt, good. Got Rob Payne, good. Robbie Florkey, Kurt Hughes, Schumacher, Mike Graff, thank you for joining.
Evening, Tim.
Hey, Newt. Happy Father's Day to all those that are fathers. Did you all enjoy the steak that we were talking about? If those are on the call last week, we talked about the big steak and potatoes and all that good stuff. We had brats and cheeseburgers and homemade fries, which isn't bad. And I'm going to have my first drink here.
I saw you going into Hy-Vee to get that today.
That was this morning. You didn't say hi?
Yes, I did. You were on a mission. Put your mask on and away you went.
Well, that was my son who's 15, my youngest son who's 15, said, Dad, let's go driving today. I said, okay, fine. I got errands to do. So we went to Hy-Vee and we did some other stuff. Mike looks nice and relaxed, Mr. Schumacher. Thank you. All right, let me see if I can get up our PowerPoint or our presentation and see if I can't screw this up too bad. Give me a moment. Football, training groups, 621. Let's go with this one, not that one. All right. So I am going to share my screen and go with a full screen and hope to gosh I do this right. So if I don't, apologize. Let's go with play slideshow. And that's what I was afraid of. Why does that go over there? You got too many screens. Share screen, let's go with that one. Share. Everybody see this screen right here? Where's it going over there?
I saw it, now it's gone.
I know, it's going over to my other screen and I don't know why. All right, I gotta figure that out. I'm the tech guy and I can't figure this out. That's not really good, is it?
We forgive you.
I figured you would. Thank you. Thanks, Newt. Appreciate that. Okay, let's get started here. Quite honestly, I don't know why this screen, but you've all seen this from the last meeting, I think. I don't know why. Probably should have tested this. Anyway, let's move on. So the agenda tonight, we're going to do some introductions again. For those that are new here, we've got some COVID-19 impacts, and I lifted this information. Mike Graff, this might be familiar to you because I lifted it specifically from your PowerPoint, but I think it's important information that we all kind of share so that, our referees, this is from the referee meeting, but also know from the umpires and everybody else on the crew what's going on when it comes to COVID-19. We're going to review some kicking mechanics, and I was hoping that Joel Olson, you're not on the call yet?
I am here.
Thanks, Joel.
Yep.
I might have you talk a little bit about the kicking mechanics. I've got some film review for some kicking, really odd kicks. We'll again talk about future topics, and we'll do a wrap up. All right. So introductions for those that are new here. Let me pull up my grid view here. Looks like, so we'll start with Rob Payne. Rob Payne, you're new here. Go ahead. We're going to talk about name, umpire experience. If you have a crew chief, best thing about the U, worst thing about the U, and how can we improve? And I will put this real quick. Rob Payne was definitely one of my mentors in the past. I learned a ton of stuff about the umpire position from working with Rob on the RYFA fields, 9, 10, 11 years ago. So I really appreciate Rob being here because he has a wealth of experience. But anyway, Rob, you're up.
Yeah, you for about 15 years, I believe, give or take. Best thing about it is you guys talked about it last week. I watched the video, even though I get to sit in on it. Like you say, you're in the action all the time. You're always handling the ball. The things you see in the middle, you don't really get to hear from the outside. I feel bad for all the wing guys that are just always out there wondering what's going on. And guys in the middle are talking all the time. But the toughest part is, as you said, again, getting banged around. But that comes sometimes is the fun part too. But I know over the years, one of the things that I've got, I think, better at as the years went along was gauging your depth. I think that was huge. I don't know if you guys talked about that. Where do you stand? How do you stand? What do you use to gauge how your depth? Because usually it's about 5 to 7 yards. And to me, it was always the linebackers dictated where I stood. If they were really close to the line, I was probably about 5 yards. But if they were further back, I'd back up a little more. I always tried to keep the linebackers in front of me at all times because they're the ones that are going to mow you over the most. And then the other thing was that I felt that I got better as the years go on, and I know a lot of you umpires see it. You try to make a move forward to that line, and a safety out of nowhere comes flying in there and clicks your shoulders or whatever. Before you make that first step, and generally, as Tim said, you're going to keep your feet planted for the most part and don't move. But when you move forward, try to think about where them safeties are coming from. And it's amazing how sometimes your peripheral vision will kick in and you stop and they'll whip right past you. But most of the guys out there knew, Robbie, they're not going to run you over anyway. This little safety's probably going to bounce right off of you and they're going to go around you. Little guy like me, they're going to give me an elbow on the way by.
Move with a purpose.
That's all I got. Yeah, move with a purpose.
Move with a purpose.
Yes.
We always see that, the quarterback drops back and he's going to throw the ball and shit. For whatever reason, we feel in the old days, we need to get to that line of scrimmage. We need to just rush to the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
I think those days have changed. Slowly get to the line of scrimmage and, look left and right and make sure that you don't have a tight end that's coming across or a wide receiver coming across or whatever. So thanks, Rob. Mike Schumacher with the red hat. You're up, buddy. Anything? And then again, I will also point out Mike was a great mentor for me. Also on the RAOA fields, I've learned a heck of a lot from him, from the referee position as well as just football in general. I want to give my shout outs to you, Mike. Both Mike and Rob were great mentors growing up. So anyway, you're muted, Mike. By the way, you're still muted.
Fancy that.
There you go. You're unmuted now.
Oh, thank you. I am Rob's replacement at the U. I worked the line for 15 years. It's a good time. A lot more involved in every play. You still get your exercise. That's about it.
Agreed. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have two actually. I don't know. I think we have a line of scrimmage wannabe, or maybe he's just held over from the previous meeting with Benny. Benny, are you as an umpire here, or are you just kind of hanging out? Yeah, Benny, you've been identified as a mole. He's muted. Let's move on. Joel Olson, thank you very much for joining.
Yep. Yeah, sorry. Last week I was almost forced into joining the Dodge County Youth Hockey Board. So I had to go to that board meeting last week, or else I would have been here.
All good.
You know how that is with kids and everything. Went through your own kids doing stuff. So I've been at the U for about 2 years. I've been a wing for about 8 years before that. Crew chief is Buck, Ryan Buckingham. Best thing about the U, I watched your meeting from last week, and I'd agree, this being in the middle of everything. Being an educator, I'm a teacher. So just trying to help guys and educate like all the linemen basically on maybe what you said last week, Tim, was excellent. Just, if they want you to look at something, just explain to them what you're seeing, and maybe how they could get the call, or just what you're seeing and why it's not something that you're going to throw your flag on. So just being in the middle and educating those guys is the best thing. The worst thing for me is, since I've only been a U for about 2 or 3 years, is just trying to slow everything down. And by the end of last year, I felt like I wasn't watching the ball as much. That's been my biggest problem at the U, is just, if it's a running play, I'll focus on the running back when I should be focused on some of the linemen more. So I've gotten better at it, but that's one big thing that I need to improve on.
Yep. We as umpires, we need to have awareness of the ball, but we don't ball watch. We can't watch the ball. But of course, we need to know where the ball is, and we need to know where that that running back is coming from. So very good. Before we move on, anybody else want to add to this at all? Dave, Benny, I know you don't work the umpire very much, or maybe never.
I just thought I'd stop over and see how you guys are doing and say hi to everyone.
Thanks, Benny. Appreciate that.
Check up on you, Tim.
Well, you just saw me for an hour.
I know. I hope you do better.
Well, I'm going to try. All right, guys. So I'm glad that Mike Graff is here, because he did address COVID-19 impacts in his referee meeting last week, but there's a couple things that I wanted to go over just so that we're all kind of aware of what's going on. Now keep in mind, these are just things that Mike brought up as possible impacts. Please keep in mind that as of today, June 21st, 2020, nobody has the answers to these questions or these issues. Nobody. Has that changed at all, Mike? Probably not, right? We just don't know.
No, it's all, they had the regional coordinators had a short meeting with Zoom meeting, of course, with Jason Nickleby and Mike Spanier. And basically right now, the approach to the season is that things are going to be like a normal year. Plans are for in-person mechanics clinics. Ours would be at Mayo High School this year. And they'll know more. I think July 27th is the date where, I forget if that's the state or the state high school league, but there's going to be some decisions made on what we can and can't do. And I'll just say that it continues to be unknown, because if you read the sports section, it seems like every NCAA D1 school that's tried to get together, there's a whole bunch of them that there were like 25 Clemson players that tested positive, and on and on. So
Yep.
Tim is absolutely right. It's still not known, but until you hear different, right now the plan is business as usual, and everybody has their fingers crossed.
So thanks, Mike. There's just a couple of things I wanted to touch on as far as the impacts that we may or may not see. These are just some things that are being probably discussed, or at least thought of. Will we wear masks? Don't know. In a game, don't know. One thing that I found very interesting, and I never really thought of, is electronic whistles. Will we use electronic whistles? If we're using a mask, how the heck are we going to put a whistle in our mouth? That's going to be pretty darn difficult. Again, we don't know the answer to these questions. These are just some things to think about. So if we have a season, let's say we have a season, when does it start or when does it stop? You know, we're in the middle of, with COVID-19, we're in the middle of the first wave, if you will. We're always talking about wave 2 or the second wave. Well, shit, we're not through wave 1 yet. So who knows what wave 2 or the second wave is going to look like? These are some things to think about. Travel arrangements. You know, normally we have 4 to 5 guys in a car, right? Or a van or a truck or whatever. We're all going to Goodhue together, all 5 of us. with social distancing, that's going to be pretty darn difficult to have 5 guys in the truck. Would you agree? How are we going to do that? Are those going to be mandated by the state, by the crew, by RAOA? We don't know. Just some things to think about. Like Mike had said, state government will hopefully, or MSHSL will provide some guidance for this, but we just don't know. One thing as a college referee that we've been told is that we may not have locker rooms, which in the high school game, sorry, I dropped my glasses. In high school, that may not be that big of a deal because most of our games are an hour or less, but still, we may not have locker rooms for us to change in or to shower or afterwards. And Mike, you put this great, when we're showering after a game, we're in a broom closet, we're on top of each other. You got 5 guys that, are trying to shower in the room for one person. How do you do that? What's going to happen? We don't know. What if someone gets sick ahead of time? This is very important. Umpires, if you get sick on a Wednesday, Thursday, or even a Friday afternoon and you don't feel well, don't hide it. Let your crew chief know. I'll just use Mike Schumacher as an example because I'm looking at you right now. You get sick on a Friday morning. You've got a cough, you've got a sneeze, you've got, some of those symptoms. Hey, Royce, here's what's going on. I don't feel well. I think it's in the best interest, and I could be wrong, that Mike, you probably don't want to work that game. Probably not a good idea because you don't feel well. Who knows? And it might just be a cold. It might be seasonal allergies. Who knows what it's going to be, but shit, we don't want to take that chance. But what about after the game? What if someone gets tested after the game and so Mike, you work that game. And again, I'm using you as an example, not because you would do this, but you work the game and Saturday morning, Sunday afternoon, whatever, you really feel shitty. You go into the clinic and you get tested and bam, you've got COVID. Now what? What do we do then? Again, these are questions we don't know the answers to. What about coaches or players that test positive after a game? What are the ramifications of that? What's going to happen then? Blood on the football blood on the uniform, or at least, that's one thing, I'll be honest, we've kind of dealt with. We've just, if a player is bleeding in the game because he's got a scratch or whatever, most times we don't send him out right away. Just say, hey, kid, can you get that take a look at that afterwards? Well, what about now? It's much more important if we have blood and I may work at Mayo Clinic, but I'm not a doctor. What about sweat? What about tears? That kind of stuff. We don't know. We just don't know. These are just things to think about. But what the most important thing is, guys, if that we think that going into the season that we are going to have zero impact, your crew is going to have zero impact because of COVID, that's probably not going to happen. We're going to be impacted or affected one way or another, whether it be fewer games, whether it be no games, whether it be someone gets sick, a player gets sick, a coach gets sick, it's going to happen. Thing is, though, guys, that we need to just not make – we just need to be aware of the situation, and if it happens, don't hide it. If you get sick, don't hide it. Does that make sense? Mike, am I missing anything as far as COVID goes? Just be open and honest, and hopefully we can get through it.
Yeah, no, that was a good overview.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Now,
Hey, Tim.
Mike,
Hey, Tim. I'm umpiring, and being how I didn't have anything to do all spring, and I was looking for something to do. Newt decided to go umpire in Iowa for their
baseball,
softball and baseball, their high school season, which is going on right now.
Okay.
And something that I think everybody is going to get used to is taking their temperature. I get asked when I get to the ballpark, did you take your temperature? Yep, I took my temperature. It was normal when I left the house.
Yep.
And that's what they're doing with players. Players, in order to play that night, they have to show that they took their temperature. At games, they have a thermometer there that they are taking temperatures. So if you're over 100.3, you're not playing. And you're being sent to get tested. So that's just kind of some of the things I've had. You know, it was interesting reading the Minnesota State High School League thing they put out this week, where you've got the low, medium, and high, where football is the high. The low sports were cross country and swimming and tennis. The medium was volleyball and soccer, and you know, the high was football, which didn't make me feel good about football having a chance of playing. So, but anyway, I've had teams. It's been interesting. I had 4 games last week. I've got teams that do a fantastic job of social distancing, where they stay 6 feet apart. I got coaches that are apart. They're not high-fiving. They're not doing anything. I've got other teams that look just like any other season, where they're hand slapping, getting together in huddles. And, you know, it's as a couple of ADs and I have talked about, you know, they don't know when it's going to go haywire, but the feeling is at some point it's going to go haywire, but it'll continue to be an interesting summer. So anyway, that's just a little input.
Thanks, Newt. Appreciate that. And that's exactly what it is. We don't know what's going to happen, but we just need to be prepared. And by being prepared, meaning be flexible. It's going to happen. Something could happen. Or, shit, we could just have a great season and nothing comes of this, and we just move on and everything is great. We just don't know. That's the bottom line. We don't know. Now, Mike, there's one other topic that you approached on your meeting last week, and I think we need to speak to it, and I think you did a good job of speaking to it as well. There's a number of issues in our country right now. One of those is obviously, you know, the COVID, what's going on with that, and another is the social issues that are going on. And I'm not going to do this justice because it's a difficult topic to discuss. But when it comes to football and it comes to high school sports, we may or may not have teams or players that decide to use the anthem as a protest or as a way of talking about, or at least expressing their what's going on in their lives. That's not for us to decide. It's not for us as officials to decide that's right or that's wrong. If we work a game, or if we're about to work a game, and at the 6-minute mark, 5-minute mark, whatever it is, the anthem starts to play, and we see 3 or 4 kids that decide to take a kneel, or the whole team. That's not for us to be involved with. Either way, whether we agree with it or disagree with it, that's not for us to decide. And that could be really, really tough. That could be really, really tough for a lot of us. And I think in at least in my case, in the NCAA, if that happens, you know, last year or a couple of years ago, I saw it. I saw band members literally taking a knee. It's not my decision. It has nothing to do with me. It's not my part, or at least my place, to make a big deal out of that. And I think that's the stance from MSHSL and RAOA, is that we don't get involved. And Mike, if you could just spend a minute and from a state coordinator's perspective, am I hitting it on the head, or if I'm out?
I think the fact that the State High School League hasn't really talked about it at all just says their view on it is, you know, folks have the right to do that. It's you know, I'm a military veteran myself, so I use the example in the referee meeting that we had a team in a college game a few years ago, and it was still a little more controversial or rare that was coming up from Illinois, and the conference commissioner called me and told me, you know, we were not supposed to react in any way. It was their right to do it. The conference supported it as their right to do it. And certainly the State High School League, that will be their position. So my point on this whole thing was, on a Friday night when you're getting together as a crew to work a football game, you're not there to get involved with each other or with what's going on as to how you feel. There may be people on your crew that feel quite different than you do, and you need to be okay with that. You've got a football game to work. 2 minutes before opening kickoff is not the time to try to resolve those feelings with your fellow crewmates. So as a referee and you guys as crew members, I want the crew focused on the game at hand. There's plenty of things going on around us that for these couple hours, it's just like if you're having problems at home. Friday night, for those couple hours, you need to be focused on the game, not at the problems at home and not at the very real problems in society. So I think that about covers it from my end.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, thanks, Mike. Anybody have any questions or comments relating to that? Political, well, let's keep the political side out of this because that's not what this is about. But if you have any questions at all, talk to your crew chief, talk to your coordinator, talk to your umpire chief or your umpire coach, whatever the heck you call me. But I think it's just play the game. Let's not get involved. Benny?
Got it.
Okay, you lit up like you're going to say something, but no. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's move on. Kicking mechanics. This is coming from Newt. Newt, you better pay attention because you're on deck. Let's talk about kicks. The kicking game, which, let's be honest, in a football game, when does shit go bad? The kicking game. Whether it be free kicks, scrimmage kicks, that's when things just go wrong. So let's talk about free kicks. Now, Joel, I appreciate you. You sent me some pictures because for whatever reason, I can't find my rule book and mechanics book from last year. I can't find it anywhere. I have no idea where it is. I looked everywhere. I thought I gave it to my kid. He said, no, it wasn't me. I don't have it, which, whatever. So let's talk about free kicks. Now, free kicks, remember, are basically after a score or a start a half, and, of course, after a safety. Where are we as umpires on a free kick? Let's just talk about after a score or start a half. What yard line are we on, and where are we at? Joel?
We are at the 50, Tim.
Okay.
Which was good because I don't have to remember. I was at the 50.
Always at the 50. Not the minus 50 or the plus 50, just the 50. What side of the field are we on? Could be a trick question here.
Usually the press box side.
Press box side. Are we with the line judge or the headlines?
Line judge.
Line judge. Okay. So the line judge switches halves. At the second half, he's on the other side.
Then would be what the headlinesman, I would guess. If we're always on the press box side.
Always on the press box side. Stay press box. Stay press box. That's a big thing. Now, what numbers, if you were to number the kickoff, right? What numbers do we have initially? What keys do we have initially? Who are we looking at on that free kick?
So I know my crew in the last couple of years, I usually bring, since I'm a teacher, I always bring a whiteboard marker. And
sure.
We almost always talk about on free kicks exactly who we have. So lately I've had the like on my side of the field, I've had the 3 inside guys, and then the line judge will take the 2 outside guys just right at the beginning. But then once they get past those initial players, usually right on the 50 on the receiving line, then it kind of breaks down the zone.
Go to zone.
Like in the mechanics book, it shows like basically the little square that we have to cover. So I stay with my players till they get past that first initial line, and then just kind of go into a zone. And then of course last year it was different because we actually kind of came onto the field. I think last year was the first year we did that, right?
You come on the field now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's
And last year was the first year. We
Okay.
basically just come to about where the numbers are, and we come onto the field. And
So
the
similar
back judge,
to okay,
back judge does the same thing on their side.
on their side. Okay. So you come on the field. So when that kick goes off, you watch them come down. You come on the field. So from the 50, do you advance downfield at all, or do you just go straight across from the 50, or do you kind of loop around, if you will?
Almost just like when I was on the wing, like how we always had to square things off.
Yep.
I just kind of go right to the numbers, square it off, and I'll kind of meander down a little bit depending on the situation.
Okay. So let's talk about reverse mechanics then. So we have a stud who kicks the ball at the 10-yard line, whatever, and he's hauling off. He's broken all of the tackles and he's going past. What are you going to do as an umpire if he's coming to your side? What are you going to do? Are you going to try to backpedal to, or are you going to let your wings and whoever's back there take care of that?
The line judge, I mean, if they break contain and they start coming my way, I would basically just turn. I would never backpedal. I'd probably turn and get my butt on the sideline first of all, and then kind of run with the guy, run with the returner as he's going past.
Okay. So what I do in college,
him, obviously.
Yeah, what I do in college is that if it's rare, but when it happens, if that player or that running back, whatever you want to call it, breaks contain, and he's going past me, I stay where I'm at. If I'm on the numbers, I stay right there. I pivot and I watch him. So really, you don't need to get off the field. It's kind of like if you're in the backfield, the defensive backfield on a regular scrimmage play, and that running back is coming at you. Are you going to move off to the side? No, you're going to just stay right where you're at and let that player decide which way he wants to go. Just stay where you're at. And as he goes past you, just pivot and look, and then do the backside stuff. Look for backside block in the back, or low blocks, that kind of stuff. Because we should have somebody behind you that's going to be able to cover that play to the goal line. That's my opinion. I mean, that's what I would do. Okay. Good. Any questions on that at all, Newt? Nope. Okay.
I'm good there. I was going to say, if you're going to go to onside kick next, I'd be interested to know how people.
We don't have onside kick. I don't have this on my. Can you see my thing here?
Yep.
But we should talk about onside kicks. So, onside kick. Obviously, the kick's going to go from the 35, and an onside kick. You want to think about an onside kick for every kick, but let's be honest. They're only going to do it late in the game when the score is, they're down by 1 or 2 touchdowns or whatever. Let's talk about that real quick. Where does the umpire go? We're normally lining up at the 50. The kick is coming from the A35. Where are we going to go as umpires? Are we going to bounce in front and go to the 10-yard lines, or are we going to go to the 45, correct? And I said that wrong. I'm thinking college. I'm so sorry.
Yes,
I'm thinking college. I do apologize. I apologize for that. We're starting from the 40. So we're not going to move, are we?
What we did last year, this is when we knew it's late in the game, it's inside a minute, you're going to get an onside kick. The umpire moved to the kicking line.
So we have a back judge. So we have a back judge on one side, and we're going to have the umpire both at the 40-yard line. I do apologize for the 40-35. I don't know what I was thinking. So we're both there, right? So the line judge would go to the B40.
50 usually.
Oh, 50. Sorry, 50. Yeah, sorry, 50. Okay. So what are we looking for if the ball comes towards us? They kick it towards us. What are we looking for on an onside kick?
Pop up first, I would guess. Well, first onside, onside first, and then.
Do we have that's a plane.
Kick.
That's a plane. They break that plane before it, we kill it. Right? We kill that right away. Don't let them go any further. Now, on a regular kick, back judges will probably say, yeah, they can be off a half a yard or a foot or whatever, right? In an onside kick situation, that's a plane. You break the plane, it's a foul. So that's first. Second, kick comes towards us. What are we looking for? Anyone?
Contact with the ball.
Contact with the ball. Okay. What about blocks? Who's looking for blocks? Would that be the other side? Illegal blocks, because K cannot block before the ball goes 10 yards, or what? K cannot block before the ball goes 10 yards, or R touches the ball. Okay, so if the ball comes towards us, we're looking for those initial blocks. And we're also looking for touching. So if K touches the ball within 10 yards, well, we have first touching, illegal touching. But if we have the ball that is, or a player that is by R, that is blocked or touched, then we're good. Let's talk about that. And I don't have the mechanic in front of me. Joel, do you have that in front of you by any chance in the mechanic book?
Yeah. It doesn't for the onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
So what it says for the umpires, starting position is on the same side of the field as the line judge. We already said blah, blah, blah. Having the beanbag in hand to mark the spot if Team K touches the kick first. Be prepared.
There you go, right there.
Yep.
So if K touches the ball first, it doesn't go 10 yards. That's illegal touching.
Right. Be prepared to blow the ball dead if a prone player recovers the kick, regardless if it has traveled 10 yards. And then also rule on the pop-up kick and the legality of blocks. That's what it has for what the umpire's jobs are.
Okay. Legality of blocks. So if K blocks a player before the ball goes 10 yards, we have an illegal block. Okay. Does that help Newt at all, or does that?
That's good. We started out, I'd say 2 years ago, we would have the umpire stay on the 50-yard line where they always stay. But then I think that when the new manual came out, now we bump to the 40 instead of having the line judge on our side hop over the top of us per the new mechanics book. So I think, it's just good review, but that sounds good.
Good. So another rare situation is after a safety. And I'm going to be honest, I don't remember the last time in a high school game that I had to cover a free kick after a safety. So let's talk about that real quick. Where does K kick off from? Or where do they put the ball in play from? Whether it be a punt, a drop kick, a free kick. It's from the 20, correct? All right. Where are we at? I honestly don't know. And I wish I knew. I don't have my mechanic book anymore. Like I said, I lost it or somebody took it. I'm going to blame Newt on this because, I can. Where are we at after a safety? Are we at the 30?
We'd be on the receiving line at the 30 then.
30 an R, okay. R's 30 or K's 30?
Well, wherever 10 yards from the kicking point.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be the same as a kickoff, just from
10
opposite
yards,
of what.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's no different than the regular kickoff.
Okay. And we still have the same keys. We still have the same responsibilities. Okay. All right. At scrimmage kicks, let's talk about a punt. So if the team is obviously going to be punting, it's 4th and a mile, and they're at their own 7-yard line, well, chances are good they're going to punt. So we're going to go into the offensive backfield, right? One thing that we need to make sure of, and I got dinged on this in a playoff game a couple of years ago, in a high school playoff game, is that it was a punt, and I turned and ran towards the position I need to be in with my back to the ball. Jason Nickleby said, no, don't do that. We need to, as we go, we need to back up so we're watching that ball. Now, personally, really? But again, this is the State High School League. That's what they want us to do. Does that make sense? So as you're going to the backfield and you will line up perpendicular to your referee, you pay attention to the referee because, he or she is the boss. You line up next to them. But as you're going, you want to back up and watch that ball. Now, if it's a non-obvious punting situation, it's 4th and 3, middle of the field, they're probably going to punt, but you never really know. They come out in a shotgun formation or whatever. Stay where you're at in the defensive backfield. I would not advise, oh shit, they're going to punt and then start running to the offensive backfield. Does that make sense? Just stay where you're at. It's not a big deal if you miss that. Now, I mean, if they fool you, so what? And if you're thinking 4th and 7 at the 40-yard line, and you go in the backfield, and they run a pass or a screen or whatever, okay, big deal. Not a big deal at all. NFL does it. We're in the backfield in the NFL, so they must be doing something right. Not a big deal. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah. Tim, I think
right.
your referee can help you too. As an umpire, I'm not looking at the backfield numbers. So when Royce sees a new number in the backfield, he'll get on the radio and tell me to get back there kicking. He doesn't see the quarterback in there. So R can help you out a lot in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. If number 7 is the quarterback and all of a sudden we have, 60 or not 63, that's a bad number, 43. That's probably a punter. Yeah, very good point, Mike. Thank you. Let's talk about field goals and PATs, kind of the same thing. It's not very often that high school teams will attempt a field goal. But when they do, we need to be prepared. And that's when the 0-2-0 from our referee really helps, I think. So, they're at the 25-yard line, and from the 25, how long of a field? That's a 40-yard, right? 40-yard field goal. You're not expecting that. And then all of a sudden, your referee says, hey, they got the block on. Oh, shit. You backpedal. Just get ready for that. On a field goal or a PAT, what are our keys? Who are we looking at? Who's our primary responsibility on a PAT or a field goal? Snapper. We got to make sure that snapper is safe. We got to wait for that snapper's head to lift up and he can block before he gets hit. We got to protect our snappers. This year in college, I don't know if they do it in high school. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in college at least, they have a new rule now where on an obvious PAT or a field goal, defensive linemen have to line up in the gap. They cannot line up over the head of the center or the snapper. Help me out. Is that the same in high school now, or can you line up head up over the snapper? I don't know. Anybody?
I'm not aware of any rule saying that you can't line up on the snapper. Just like you said, no roughing.
Yeah, no roughing, and that's a big one. So if we miss that, that is a huge foul that we missed. Huge. And if you've got an assistant coach or a special teams coach that sees that, he will light you up. He'll light your referee up and say, "Why? How did you miss that?" So we can't miss that.
Can I ask the group if it's a long field goal? It might be bad enough on a PAT. How do you feel about watching the snapper from under the post when the snap is at the 25?
That's tough. Like I said,
you
in the
should
high
still
school
be able to
games,
see it if he gets dumped.
Yeah. And in a high school game, fortunately, it doesn't happen a whole lot. I mean, you may see a 40-yard field goal once in a career or once every 4 or 5 years. But again, like Rob said, you should be able to see if that center gets dumped. And again, that's a safety foul. So we err on the side of caution with safety fouls. It's not a hold. Hold, make it be there. A safety foul such as dumping the snapper, I think that the state would say they would approve or at least support a call that was 50-50 on a safety call like that. So when in doubt on that, toss. When in doubt on a hold, don't toss.
Mike, I have a question for you. Last year, state semifinal, I think they kicked a 52-yard field goal, maybe. And as an umpire, I try never to turn my back on the players. So at what point do I turn and run?
52 yards, I'm zipping. But anyway, that's my.
I was
Mike.
backpedaling.
At that point, turn and run unless you got a wicked good back pedal.
Mike?
Remember, my crew had the game in the prep bowl where they attempted an 82-yard field goal. So
It's how far back did Stilo go? Did he turn around and go?
that was Rubes at the time.
Oh my gosh,
No, he was the only one who went back, and they said we really didn't need anybody under the posts for that one.
Yeah, it's not a realistic. This actually made it over the crossbar by about a foot.
Yeah, that's tough. I think my opinion is do your best, but Mike, you may know better.
Well, the real question is at the point where one guy can handle it. You've got a long time back there. That ball isn't going to fly through like it does on an extra point.
No.
What you don't want is where the umpire is sprinting at the 20 while the ball's over his head.
Right.
Heading for the goalpost. So.
Yeah, Royce did a good job to give me time to get under there.
Right.
Yeah, I would think.
Run.
Yeah,
I would say you have to turn and go, or you're going to look kind of foolish backpedaling 40 yards into the end zone, in my opinion.
Well, I would think unless it's a hurry up snap, like you said, the referee can certainly help. Say we're going to let him set up get your umpire under there, and you're going to see as soon as the block comes on, you're going to turn or at least maybe somehow or another get back there quicker. But he can buy you a little time for sure. But if it's a hurry up, then it's you getting back there probably going to be pretty slow because you're going to have to go on a dead sprint to get there. It might be just up to the back judge to figure it out. Because he'd have plenty of time if one goal post or the other is compromised. He should be able to sprint over to the other post and get a look at it.
It's hard to make a call when your hands are on your knees and you're huffing and puffing after a 60-yard sprint.
Hey, wait. Our umpires are in shape now, Mike. Remember that. We're all in shape. We can sprint 60 yards.
We're the college ones.
We had 2 long field goals last year. We were in Goodhue where the lights are bad in the end zone, and it was a 37-yard field goal. So they were snapping from the hash mark on the 20. It's tough to see the center from underneath the goal.
Agreed.
I think it's almost like as soon as you get past 10 yards, I talked to Oki and we talked it through and we decided, that's one of those things. He's watching the kicker, of course, but he's kind of got that one eye maybe on the center on the long field goals. So
what about the wings? Can the wings help with that? I mean, what are the wings doing? And Mike, you worked the wing for Mike Schumacher. You've worked the wing for a number of years. What's the wing looking at on a long field goal? Can they at least help with that and maybe talk about it?
I think that would be tough to do.
Would it?
Watch the center, yeah.
Because what are you looking at? I mean,
I think they're watching that block on the end.
Exactly. You're watching those first contact.
So I guess if the center or the snapper gets roughed and it's a 40, like you said, a 37 to 40-yard field goal and the coach goes ballistic, I think the coach, my umpire is 40 yards away. He could barely see that. We do our best. We may have missed that one.
I think the referee can help with that. It seems to me it's such an important call that you can't be afraid to throw the flag from behind the line there on that one. You can see it, I think, but I would not count on the wings being able to help.
Okay. And in high school, those snappers are not going to be sophisticated enough to fake that. In college, let me tell you what, they're sophisticated enough to fake that. Absolutely, they are. And they know it. But in high school, I think for the most part in Southeast Minnesota, I think we'll be okay. All right, last one as far as the kicking, if nobody has anything else, the swinging gate. We all hate the swinging gate. Would that be a true statement?
Yep.
So you see a team line up in the swinging gate. Where, as an umpire, are you going to be? Are you going to line up underneath the goalpost, or are you going to line up 2 or 3 yards deep in the end zone? I know where I'm going to line up. I'm lining up in the end zone. That's my opinion. Because chances are, if they're in the swinging gate, they're probably going to swing back around and either run a play or kick it. And you know what? Or back judge can handle that. That's my opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Generally, when they run a swinging gate, there's not often that the kicker's out there, although they can run into it, certainly. But
Right.
if there's
And
no
a lot of
kicker,
these-
there's no point for you to be under the post.
Right. And a lot of 1A, 2A schools, the kicker is sometimes the quarterback or the running back. You know, in a 5A, 6A school, we all know who the kicker is, or even a 4A school. But a lot of the schools that we that we work for, we know who, it could be a quarterback, it could be whoever. I think in a swinging gate, I'm just going to go and have my normal position on a scrimmage play. What are you guys' thoughts?
I think what you base it on is there a holder? If you've got a holder, then you got to look at it like it's a kick. If it's just a quarterback in the pistol, or it doesn't have to be a quarterback, it could be a wildcat type player. If there's a back but no holder, then treat it like it's going to be a scrimmage play. If they shift over, the umpire can drop back under the post. So I think that's the best way to handle it.
Yep. Agreed. Thanks, Mike. All right, guys, we're getting close to our hour. I'm at 53 minutes past. I've got a couple of quick videos to watch because we're at the film review, kicking situations. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. Joel Olson, you helped me with these. The clips I'm about to show, they're not from RAOA. I completely lifted them from Mark Andrews, who, Joel, correct me, where's Mark from?
He's Orange County, California.
Orange County,
but does an awesome job with putting videos
fantastic job of putting out videos. Absolutely fantastic. So I literally stripped these videos of any audio so that we can kind of talk about them. Now, being in a Zoom call, I don't know what the quality is going to be. This is at first. So if it sucks, it sucks. But the first one we're going to look at is a pop-up free kick. Okay. And let's see what this looks like here. All right. So can you guys see that okay? Is that good? I don't know. Let's talk about this. All right. So what happened here? Can we back it up a little bit? I hope. Shoot. I don't have that ability. Rats, I thought I did. Okay, so what Mark is saying right now, he's like, why is this line judge rushing in to see what's going on? He's like, he's not and I took the audio out, so that's why he's saying, and what's going on? We have this pile up right here. Okay, rats. I was hoping that we could, okay, let's play this through. So what does this guy come up with and say, okay, yeah, first, yep, our ball, oh, our ball. Now, watch what happens with this ball. Watch what happens and see if you guys can tell. Uh-oh. What'd you guys have?
It's hard to see on this, but I've seen
It
it
is
on
hard to
the
see.
screen.
Looks like he put it into the
it's-
ground.
It's a
Correct.
definite. It goes straight in the ground and above the players' heads.
So what do you have? What do we
The
have when that
umpire
happens?
should kill this right away.
Everybody should be killing this.
Right.
That has eyes on it.
Right.
That
But
is a
It is the
dead-
umpires. That's one of our main duties is to check on pop-up kick.
right here. This
And
umpire
one other
right here.
thing, there's onside kick. The
Newt, you're breaking up a little bit. Sorry.
they're for an onside kick. The officials are. They've got two guys at
Yep.
40 and two.
Yep. But that ball was driven into the ground. That's a pop-up free kick. That is we're killing that right away. But what do? They ended up saying, okay, it's 1st and 10, K's ball. But as he says right here, and I know I stripped out the audio, that ball is up here. As soon as that ball, and that's the umpire or the back judge. We need to be able to rule on that, right? Okay. Let's go to the next one. This is a pooch kick. Now, if we stop right here, now I don't know if this is NFHS or just MSHSL. Is this an illegal or legal free kick or lineup right here?
Legal, he's got
Help me
4
out.
on one side.
Eagle.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Which one's the
5,
kicker?
We have 6 on one side and 4 on another. Would that be an illegal formation in high school? Nope.
Oh,
Okay.
you have to have at least 4.
At least 4. All right. So we're going to play this. Ball goes up. Watch. Not a pooch kick, or it's not a pop-up kick. Kicker is going to kick it. It's going to go straight up. Eventually. Straight up. And watch over here now. Watch in this area. Woo! Great play, kid. What do you got? Great play. Joel, you know the answer, so you can't chime in.
I will not say
Anybody?
anything.
Kick,
Anybody?
catch, interference.
Who said
Right.
that?
I did.
That is correct.
Illegal touching, yeah.
Kick, catch, interference. Because when the ball goes up, this player has the right to catch that ball. He didn't have that right to catch that ball. There's actually a rule reference. I think I recorded that rule reference. Look at this guy. He's like, oh, yeah, we're good. We're going that way.
And they left it that way. They did not change it.
Correct. They did not change that ball because they went right to the 41-yard line. Okay? Last play. All right. This one could be hard to see, but again, this is swinging gate. So we got the swinging gate over here. We got the center here. Ball is here. So I'll let it play through, and this is a what would you call?
Well, plus notice for the umpire. This is exactly what Tim said. You'd probably be about 3 yards deep in the end zone.
Yep. And here's your back judge right here. You know, you got your referee, you got your line judge or headlines over here, and line judge over here. So we'll hit play. Let's see what this center does. Let's watch this center snapper. Okay, we got a good count. Okay. Oh, uh-oh. What did he do? Let's play that through again. Watch what the snapper does. What does he do? This is our call. 100% our call.
Again, I won't say anything because I know what the
Anyone? So do I. Anyone? What did the snapper do? Can you guys see that okay? What did he first do with the ball?
He lifted the ball.
Picked it up.
And is that legal or not legal?
Illegal.
If it's one motion, it's legal.
He lifted up.
If he's
And then
if
what
he
did he
just
do with it?
straight across to the side, that's legal. But if he
What did
picks
he
it
do?
up and then does it, it's illegal.
Let's take a look. What does he do? Can you guys see that ball okay? It's right here.
Hard to see.
I know. I
It's
get
pretty
that.
slow.
I appreciate that. But watch what he does. I wish I could slow it down, but watch what he does. Lifts it up.
Yeah, it looks like it
It's
lifts it
subtle.
up just for a quick, subtle second. Yeah, so that makes it illegal.
So what would you
If-
guys call on it? If he lifts it up subtly like that, are you going to let
It's a
this go?
snap
Or are you gonna...
infraction.
Okay, Rob, you got a snap infraction. Robbie, what do you got?
I'm going snap infraction as well because
Okay.
feel he's in a stance and it's gotta when he throws it off to the side. My understanding is he can't do that. Since he's already in a stance, he's got to go in between the legs and that.
Nope. He
No,
can do
he can go
that.
to the side,
He can go to the side. He
but it
can
has to be
absolutely
one
go to the
fluid
side.
motion.
Because
One
when we
fluid motion.
were coaching, we always told him that if you were in your stance like that, that it was going under the legs. But we had him off the side. But
The snap, whether it be a scrimmage play or a scrimmage kick, does not have to go through the legs. But it does have to be a one fluid motion backwards or to the side. He does it to the side, but it's not one fluid motion because he lifts up and then goes to the side. And that's where the foul is.
And it's when you see it on film, like the ball actually, he brings it up and then kind of almost slings it. It's more obvious when you can see it big.
So is this a live ball or a dead ball foul?
Dead ball.
Okay, good. I'm hoping you got that one. This is the dead ball, snap infraction. 5-yard penalty, they re-kick or replay the down.
Which for the defense, it's awful because it's a terrible snap. They're not going to do anything with it, and it's almost like a redo for them at this point.
Yep. So anyway, video, I get it, is difficult for us to watch video on this type of call because, like I said, I'm stripping this out of the original format, putting it on this, and then zooming it, which may or may not work so well for you guys. So what I highly recommend is just taking a look. These are on the RAOA website. Let me pull that up real quick. If you guys go out to the RAA website and if you click on football, and I want to thank Joel Olson for these. If you scroll down to the bottom, suggested internet videos, there are some great stuff right here. Absolutely some great stuff. This Mark Andrews guy, I mean, he breaks down film like nobody's business. It's really good stuff to take a look at.
Like I watch it during the off season, but during the season he does one almost every week.
Yep. And a lot of the stuff is, I mean, he does have stuff for the whole crew, right?
Yeah.
But there's going to be umpire stuff. There's going to be kicking stuff. Guys, take a look at this stuff because, you know, our huddle videos, and hopefully in the regular season we'll get some huddle videos. We can talk about this stuff. But this is a really, really good site to take a look at.
And the cool thing is, like he'll pull all the white hats in their association, and then he'll show the poll results. So he'll say, well, in Orange County we had, you know, out of 40 white hats, 28 thought this was a holding, and 12 let it pass. So he'll totally break it down like that too. His newest one is just all about holding calls, which just came out like last week.
Yeah, holding will be our next meeting. But anyway, like I said at last week's meeting, I said how much I dislike the quizzes. While they're a necessary evil of our game, we have to do our quizzes because it gets us into the rule book. This kind of stuff really hammers it home, I think. That's my opinion. So anyway, please take a look at some of these videos if you have the time. Again, future topics. We're running way past, so I want to move on.
Mike, it is NFHS.
Yep. So again, need your input, guest presenters, video breakdown, quizzes, that kind of stuff. Please send them to me. More than happy to help out with anything. Next meeting will be July 12th, so you have a couple weeks off. I expect lots of homework, between now and then. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, guys, appreciate it. Hopefully this is helpful to you guys. If not, please, is the conference a member of? Yes. Oh, Mike, yes, it is. So Anything else, guys, at all? I've gotten 5 minutes past. I don't want to go any further because I appreciate your time.
Nope.
If nothing else, thank you very much and have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks,
everyone.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Sacramento.
All right. Thanks, guys.